chit chat.
Is it on? Oh, it's on. What's up, BlerDCon? I appreciate y'all for coming on out to hear more about the coolness happening in Azeroth. I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all get. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce my amazing panel right here. Going from right here, Jerron. How about you tell everybody who you are?
So my name is Jerron Jacques. Oh, my mic is loud. Okay. My name is Jerron Jacques. I'm a video game developer. I'm working on the game Erased, fully solo right now. So I'm doing the art, the animation, the code. I do motion capture as well, so I wear a motion capture suit. I do the stunts for the game. It's just me so far. So
Doesn't need to be anybody but you when you're good. When you're good, you're good. My name is Beverly Jackson, and I lead products, brands, and channel marketing for Zillow. And so I'm here to talk a little bit about the Warcraft and Zillow partnership. That's my colleague here.
We can clap for it. There we go.
Give it up.
Hey, y'all. I'm Eric. I'm a creative director over here at Zillow, working on this Zillow for Warcraft project. I've worked with Riot and other gaming companies in the past on similar projects. Excited to be here to answer any questions and talk about it with you, share it with you.
And I'm going to be y'all's amazing moderator. My name is Justin Samuels, founder and CEO of Render ATL. But I'm not important right now. These people are. And I just want to get out to the gate and ask, how did this partnership happen between Zillow, World of Warcraft, a housing company, a housing tech company that enables people to buy a property all over the world? But now you're in Azeroth. How did that happen?
The lure of two incredible, beloved brands coming together happens on a beach in the south of France. Really, our agency, 72 and Sunny, is also the agency for the NFL and Wilson and Indeed, and they happen to be the agency for Blizzard as well as Zillow. And a couple of years ago, probably 3 years back, someone came up with a piece of data or an insight that said there was an over-index of people who use Zillow who were also gamers. And we sat on that insight for like 3 years, not really knowing what to do with it. And we thought of some kind of cornball ideas that were just not really authentic. We're like, we're just going to give gamers new chairs. We're going to give gamers new screens. And it was kind of corny. It did make
boring.
sense. It was boring. It did make sense. And it just wasn't really authentic. And it didn't make sense. And so sitting on the beach in Cannes, our agency came to both of us and said to the woman who runs marketing for Blizzard and was like, you guys should do some stuff together. You've got this new game coming out, and Zillow is looking to be more intentional about building community and celebrating fandoms. And we said, okay. And magic was made in that marriage right there in that sweaty little room in Cannes.
I got a question for Eric. So when you say Zillow, right, the first thing that comes to mind is apartment hunting for me, and I think for most people, right? And then you say World of Warcraft. That sounds like two different worlds. So my question is, am I paying rent? And like, what's going on? Like, what exactly do you mean by housing Zillow and World of Warcraft? Can you kind of explain that?
Sure, yeah, we can take it from the top. And if you want to hop on and experience what we're talking about while we're talking about it, if your phones are connected, you can go to zillow.com/Warcraft or zillowforwarcraft.com. Either one will get you there. Or if you really want to have fun, you can go to zillow.com, search Azeroth, and it will link you directly to the site as well. But to answer your question, where do these two worlds overlap, and like what's happening there? Are you buying houses on this website? No, that's not what is happening. Basically, you can think, so World of Warcraft, sure we have some fans out here. Midnight expansion, housing's here, right? Pre-release, I don't know if you've already been in there. It's a big deal. So housing is coming to World of Warcraft. Housing is in World of Warcraft currently. Zillow is how people find home, right? So there's a natural connection point there. And so what we did is this mashup brings together those two worlds. So when you go to Zillow for Warcraft, it's not that you can buy a home or sell your home there, because that's not what's happening in the game. What you can do is you can go see what's possible. You can see what other people are building. We have 4 custom homes that were built by the game devs that you can go explore. They're level 10 already, so like not many people are there yet, but you can go see what that will look like within some Blizzard-made homes. And then we're also adding more and more homes from streamers, from everyday players, from the Reddit pages. So you'll be able to see as the site grows over time the crazy, wild, interesting things that people are doing with housing in World of Warcraft.
So if you're looking for a home, you still come to Zillow.com though.
Okay.
A real
okay.
home, like outside of the game. I
Okay,
still need you
okay.
to come there.
So, oh,
so-
sorry. Go ahead.
So us being a technical brand, Jerron, I just want to touch on like what do you think it took for a partnership like that to happen from a technical point of view to have those types of houses in the game, and how massive is this for the game development world to actually bring in an outside entity into the gaming life?
I mean, it's huge. I mean, technically, it's hard. There's a lot of houses, there's a lot of assets, there's a lot of thing that runs. But to be honest, I think the most difficult part is the partnership. So, for example, I worked on the Five Nights at Freddy's project. And this project, it was a collaboration with Roblox. So kind of like you have Lego Star Wars, it was Roblox Five Nights at Freddy's. And the problem was Scott Games, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, and Roblox wanted different things. And that was gonna be my next question: is there ever beef? Is it messy? Maybe that's a messy question for me to ask. But there was definitely a little bit of squabbling because Scott Games, he just wanted a horror game. He wanted Five Nights, and Roblox wanted a Roblox game. So it was very, very hard. And as a developer on that project, I had to create something that overlapped all the time, and it was very, very challenging. And that was hard for me technically because I'm like, am I developing this or that? So really having a solid ground. And I'm curious if there was ever any like tug and pull in different directions because World of Warcraft, housing, Zillow, they're kind of different.
So you're talking to two people that were at like two different altitudes, right? And so like at the partnership level, like at the leadership level where we're trying to decide, is this something we want to do? How do the two brands come together? How do we build? How do we leverage? Our agency was united on the strategic vision. The two brands were enthusiastic about bringing the two brands together. I think for me, early on, I was concerned that we would wind up, that Zillow would have to give up all the assets, that it would be Zillow, that we wouldn't get very much from Blizzard, that they would be sort of tepid, and they would be protective of their IP, which they should be by all rights. Like, so as a brand leader, that's kind of what you think about. And so I'm sure that's what the Roblox people were thinking as well. But then I think the commitment we made very early on, and I don't know where this came from, but somewhere inside of Zillow, someone said, in the words of Glorilla, let them cook. And so you want to make sure that the people who are authentically a part of the community have an opportunity to engage. And so one of the reasons why I wanted Eric to join today is largely because Eric is of the community, he's of the fandom, he gets the game. And so I think and there were other people involved as well, and I think when we brought those teams together, the folks from Blizzard were like, cool, they like us. And so then when you got like that natural synergy, people are less, and you want the same things. Because we're not trying to sell you anything in the game. Like, that's not what this is about. This literally is not about us ringing a cash register. This is really about celebrating the communities.
I think having someone tapped into the community is super important. Because I think if, there's World of Warcraft fans that love the game, that are obsessed with the game. It was the same thing with Five Nights at Freddy's. There's a whole fan base. And if you just come in or make it all just about housing and just straight Zillow, the fans are going to go crazy. But if you find that perfect mix where you're finding the value of homes and the value of World of Warcraft through the fans and through the love, it can be great.
So, Eric talks about this, right? But like, it is really, truly people that love the game, who understand it, who are deeply immersed in it, and who grew up playing it. I worked at Activision Blizzard. Like, the Blizzard team reported to me for a while. But that doesn't make me a gamer. That doesn't make me a part of the community. And my reason for being, my reason for doing is completely different than that. And so I'm looking for ways to bring the communities together. While Eric's role in this is very different. I'll let him talk to that, but it's very different. And so when you're in the working groups, who gets to show up and my job is to make room for them and to create a palette for them to be able to create something that's magical. And that's what I think they did.
And speaking of that magic too, Eric, we had a conversation in the back area right ahead of this where we talked about they have a full-time person whose job is to make sure everything is done right, called the lore master. Tell everybody about how intensive and how intentional that was just to make sure that the game was accurately done with this partnership.
Yeah, so down in the trenches making it, we staffed up with a bunch of nerds intentionally. Within Zillow, you can imagine being like a tech type company. There's a lot of gamers. There were already WoW Slack channels that existed within the group with almost 100 people. So we dug in there. We had people raise their hands. We had people volunteer. Within our group, we made the producer on this project is a 15-year player of the game. One of our lead writers in the game is a 6-year player of the game. We partnered up with Blizzard and worked hand in hand. And you were asking earlier, like, is it contentious? Like, was it my idea versus their idea? This was none of that from the get-go. We were very excited to be working with Blizzard on this iconic title, and they were very excited to be working with us, and it came through. And the person you're speaking of, like through this project, connected on the Blizzard side, we were able to connect in with their creative teams and the people that make this game. So I mentioned that they made some custom houses for us. They did 3D tours, so you can go through on the site. Just like you 3D tour a house on Zillow, you can 3D tour.
That's actually a product on Zillow, by the way. 3D tours.
Real product. Plug right there. But you can do it. We did that for the game, and we had to connect with their BVID people to go make this. And this wasn't a small effort on their part. I mean, they spent over a month creating these fly-throughs and creating these homes. The person that we're talking about backstage is a lore master. So if you don't know this, at Blizzard, they have multiple lore masters, but for each title, each IP, and these are like dream jobs, but these people's entire job is to basically be the Bible for the game, to know the lore, to know it inside and out. So everything we did in the site was run through this lore master and triple check. I mean, it was written by fans, designed by fans, and approved by lore masters to make sure that this didn't miss stuff in any way. And I think you can see it when you go into the site. It's very deep. The descriptions are not just there because we needed to write a description and there's a copy block, we insert some copy. It's like, no, there's a backstory to Bektar and Hazel, who are the agents. They have reviews. You can go check them out. They talk to each other. We set up real Zillow emails for them that you'll actually get the emails. If you email bektar@zillow.com, it'll hit my phone. But we set up auto replies so that these things are all interwoven intricately.
One thing I like about this is the hybrid nature is coming out. And what I mean is a lot of people are A or B, right? And I feel like we're at a stage where we're progressing past that, where you have people that are, I like being nerdy. I like being on my laptop, but I also like being outside. I like playing video games, but also I'm on the marketing team. And I feel like we're coming to a point where you don't have to just be one thing anymore. And that's definitely something that I like to embrace. Like even me, when I'm making this video game by myself, I'm doing everything. You don't often see that. Someone that loves computers but loves doing backflips. It's just.
But you're also outside, like with the
outside.
people. You're amongst. You outside with us.
Yeah, outside.
Like they say, a talent doesn't exist in a monolith. You could be a talented individual. That doesn't mean you gotta all be the exact same. But no, Gerard, what's next for you with your gaming life, with your upcoming releases? Tell everybody what you got planned next right now.
Okay, well, first let me do a little shameless plug real quick.
Exactly.
I'll play the clip.
Not shameless. Go.
Exactly. I said
Roll
you up for
clip.
that.
But yeah, roll the clip real quick, and then I'll talk about it. The clip of my game. Yeah. We can wait for that.
We can wait.
Tell us what it's called.
But I'll talk about it while they're pulling it up. But my game is called Erased, and it's essentially an open world fighting game, right? So again, when we're talking about hybrids, it's not just one thing. So you see the fighting that you typically see in a game like Tekken, Street Fighter, but it's open world, and it blends those genres together. And then you also see a lot of culture. You're going to see the hairstyles. You're going to see the outfits. You're going to see parkour, rollerblading, dancing. It's actually inspired by Jet Set Radio. If you guys played it. So there's a lot of street culture, a lot of rollerblading, a lot of cyberpunk aesthetics. But it's definitely a hybrid game. And when you see it, at first you might even be a little bit confused. But once you get it, you're like, okay, I see what he's building here.
How much of you is in the game?
Oh, it's all me.
This is all okay.
It's so
somehow
much
I
me.
felt that. Somehow I felt that.
It's me 100% of the way. When you see it come up, you'll see like I said, I'm doing the motion capture as well. So I wear a Rococo motion capture suit. Also, by the way, if you want to see more about specifically this game, I have a panel tomorrow at 9 a.m. where it's all about the game and my story, how I made the game, how I became the person that I am. And you'll see me doing some motion capture and flips on stage and stuff. So check that out, 9 a.m. tomorrow right here. Um,
So
where the clip
What-
at?
what-
Where's the clip?
It's
What's
on your
going
social, right? What's your social?
Yeah, what is your social? How do we find you?
You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's just my name, Jerron Jacques. So Jerron, Jerron, and my last name Jacques, Jacqueus. So you can find me everywhere. In that clip, though.
I think they're working overtime to find it right now.
Somebody feels the pressure about
So-
that clip.
let's talk, Beverly, about how this represents taking a chance on a new adventure, on a new partnership, a new opportunity that hasn't been done. What can you speak to about why it's important to just try things that aren't always KPI based, things that just can bring a new fan into the mix, a new user, things that usually leadership will say no because it doesn't make sense, but it does make sense if you just zoom out.
That's a really important point, and that's you need leaders who are willing to take a chance, right? Like, so people need to be able to take a chance on something. And like I said, we sat on the insight about gaming and the gaming community and its relationship to Zillow for 3 years before we were able to find something. And by the way, if we had done something with it 3 years ago, we wouldn't have had Eric because Eric wasn't here then. And so we wouldn't have had Eric. We wouldn't have had like that sort of creative spark to help bring it all together. But in a company where it's all about performance and it's all about revenue and it's all about hitting your metrics and your goals and all the KPIs, right? And they're always growing 5%, 10%, 7% every year. Like that
Every
pressure
year.
is real. That pressure is real. And so when every dollar that you spend is determined, it's intended to make more dollars, there is not an appetite for risk. I think the cool thing about what we're trying to do and what we've been able to do over the last 3 to 4 years is to say, where can we take risk? What can we take risk with? And we started with small risk. And so we started with a partnership with the LA Rams where we did their NFL draft house. And so they draft from a house. The Rams are really unique. They don't draft from they don't draft from a boardroom or their stadium. They draft from a house because LA is beautiful. It's got like beautiful beaches and beautiful mountains. And so they wanted to showcase the city. And what better partner to do that with than Zillow? For that one, though, it was easy because you can say, like, I can bring partners, I'll make money. There are no houses being transacted in Azeroth, right? And so, like, we're not making any money on this, and it takes resources and people away from their jobs. But what we said to the CFO is give us a chance. Let's take 10% of our budget and try some new shit, some stuff that we've not done before. Let's just do something different. And he was like, as long as you're hitting your other goals, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a rope here, and you can try some stuff. And he did. He's given us
Thanks,
a little
Robbie.
bit. He's given us, and you know, and Jeremy's like, I love this, right? He's like, he's a young guy. He's like, he was a gamer. Like, he loves sports. He loves music. So he loves culture. And because he loves culture, anytime we can bring him an opportunity that helps us extend the brand is really good. The other good part of this for me is our CEO used to be our CMO. So our CEO is a marketer. And so he sat in that chair. And so when I talk to him, it's like, so that's what I'm trying to do. You okay with that? My boss will be quick to go, you tell Jeremy. I'm not going to tell him. So we have our CFO and our CEO are both named Jeremy. So I go tell the Jeremys, I got like this wacky idea. And we hit our goals. Like, we work really, really hard. We're very driven. We're very focused. But you need a little bit of runway to try something new, right? And so, and you have to be in places like BlerDCon to actually find out what's happening on the ground. And you have to be in those spaces. You have to be in those creative spaces. You have to be in those places in culture. And you have to interact with people that are not corporate stooges, you know, that don't necessarily wear hard-bottom church shoes to work every day, that can actually help bring you insights that help you tap into new communities where you can grow your audience, and then you'll be able to monetize those things. So it's not about monetizing it right now. And the reality is I'm going to give one little, just a second. We are talking up to this is my corporate spiel right now, so I'm putting my corporate hat on. Okay, let me sit up. We're talking we're talking to an entirely new generation of people who don't believe they'll be able to ever own a home. And so that's real, right? Like, affordability how do I get a home? They're like waiting for certain generations to die off so they'll free up some housing capacity. The reality is that everybody's journey for getting home or finding a home starts somewhere, and it's different. And so how it looks for the people in this room and the people at this conference might be totally different than how it works for people who, go to a corporate job every day, or who there's the gig economy where people get paid with W-2s that are, or 1099s that are not W-2s. And how do we create an opportunity for those folks? And how do we create a culture that welcomes them into the process? And so everybody's someday is different, but your someday begins somewhere, and it starts today.
And that's a great note about journeys, pathways, opportunities. They all intersect because ultimately we are all going to that same place. We all want to be successful, and we all want to make the best of our lives and the people that come after. And I know that your journey as a game developer has been extremely different, where we kind of nerded out about you doing it at Unity and a C Sharp. Man, I haven't wrote a C Sharp since like 2012. But like, I don't think everybody knows your journey and they understand where you came from. And I would love for you to share with the audience, how did you become the guy that made that partnership happen with Roblox? What was your journey like?
Oh, well, we're going to need 2 hours for that. But I mean, I'm from Dorchester, the ghetto. That's where I was born and raised. Like a lot of people here at BlerDCon, I was alternative, alt black, call me, And honestly, I took the struggle and created something new. We were talking about it in the back. I think video games for me were kind of an escape. It was a way to be in another world, and I think a lot of people are like that, especially people that are super, World of Warcraft, for example. It's a whole world, and it's huge, and you can escape there. But for me, I didn't just want to go to another world. I wanted to make new worlds. And so when I found the fact that I can make my own video game, I was like, this is perfect. I can just change my reality. And like I said, I could go way in depth in my panel about it tomorrow, but that's how it started. And as I started, developing these characters and going through struggles in life, I said, if I can make this character that's this hero that can change the world, why can't I? And I made this character that can do these crazy flips and all this combat. So I was like, if I train, I could do the same thing. So I trained, I learned the moves, and I essentially became that video game character. It initially started as an escape. I don't think it's an escape anymore. I think I just love to create, and now I want to give other people experiences. But it really was just my way of trying to change my reality, you know. And then it was a grind of trying to prove people wrong. People tried to put me in a box for a very long time, and I didn't fit. They didn't make my size, and so I made my own box. I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go here. I moved to LA. I met a lot of people. I did everything I had to do to keep the grind going. And essentially, people like me that look like me don't really work in the game development space that often. And especially when I was coming in young, a lot of guys didn't really respect me originally. They was like, who's this kid and why is he the lead developer on the project? There's no way. But when they could see what I could do, if y'all would show the clip, then they're like, okay, oh, he's different. He's like that. But I constantly have to prove myself. The way that I look, it's not something that I can automatically walk in and you know until you see it. And when it comes to the Roblox project, they actually reached out to me. And, things changed. It's been a grind for a long time. I've been making games for 10 years, but it's always been like, I got to prove it. And maybe the last, honestly, maybe 6 months or a year or so, my life has been different, where people have finally been noticing what I've been doing and reaching out to me. It's been very different the past months, and getting invited to BlerDCon and having all these panels. But long story short, how I got here is I was angry and I was upset. That's the truth. And I decided to put that pain and to channel it into something good. And I'll give you one quick short story. I remember I lived in a shelter. It was me, my older sister, and my mom. And I remember we would get broken toys. That would be like a car that had 3 wheels, an action figure with 1 arm. But I was a weird kid. And to me, they weren't broken. They were just different. And so I remember I had an action figure, and I tied a string to one of the arms, and I was like, he doesn't have a broken arm. He's like Spider-Man. He has special abilities. And I was just always like that, constantly taking something that was quote-unquote broken to someone else and making it new. And that translated to my life. Anything that came someone seen as broken, I just seen it as a roadblock or just a path, just just a different way, and that's kind of a game developer, so it kind of makes sense.
How did you know that you like? What was the unlock for you that you could do it? Like, so you had like all that adversity, and people were trying to define you, but like, what was the unlock? What is the thing that like, what was the moment? What was the thing that sort of like pulled you into like, I can do this?
To be honest, I think that's one thing I will say has been fortunate about me is that I always knew. I can't remember a time where I didn't. I remember when I was a kid, I was just like this. I just always believed. I was like an anime character, and I felt like I was at the bottom, and there was only really one direction to go. And I just had this grind, like I'm gonna do it one day. Like right now, you don't see me, but you're gonna see me. And I don't remember ever not feeling that way. I knew inside I felt it, but I didn't always project it, and people had no idea. But I remember being like 4 years old, and I would just take apart like radios and remote control cars.
Breaking stuff.
Huh?
Just breaking
She
stuff.
That's what my mom thought, but now she's like, okay, I get it now. But I was into robotics at first, actually, before I got into game development. But I would just take stuff apart. I was curious, and I don't know, there was something inside me. Since I could always remember that, I was like, no, like I can do it. But to be honest, one of the biggest things I tell people think it's optimism. It's not optimism. It's actually logic. Because the reality is, if you work hard at something for 10 years, anything, you're gonna get good. And a lot of people just don't put the time into it. If I said I want to be good at juggling, and I juggled every day for 10 years, I'm going to be good. And that's with everything. Maybe if I said I'm going to be the best person in the world, maybe not. But to say you're going to be good, that's logic.
Well, it's like they say, cowards never begin at all, you know?
Mm.
And not everybody finishes too. But as long as you hold on, you could actually make it, you know? I think about my own journey as an engineer, where I call it the a puzzle aha moment I had when I used to go to my grandma's house, and she had all these puzzles, and my grandma was like, "Do not touch my puzzles." And they were beautiful puzzles, like 1,000-piece puzzles, 2,000-piece puzzles, and I was probably like no older than like 8 or 9. And I would go over there and I would touch her puzzles, and I would just drop them on the floor.
Breaking stuff.
Yeah, see, breaking stuff. And I would just drop them on the floor, and she'll be mad at me. By the end of the day, I solve the puzzle, and I would put it all back together. And I think about the exposure of my mom found out, and my mom instantly said, "Well, like I'm gonna have to beat your ass because you
Breaking
you,
stuff.
you breaking stuff." But my grandmother said, "Don't. Like I think he just likes to solve problems." And not everybody has an opportunity where their mom or their dad or whoever embraces their curiosity and their like awareness. Because in that one instance, and I call it the butterfly effect, you know? If my grandmother would have let my mom beat my ass, I probably would have not been an engineer. Render ATL wouldn't exist at all. We wouldn't be up here in this situation right now. All because of that one moment where she said, "No, I think he's just smart. He just wants to solve stuff," you know?
You know, it's so interesting that you say that, right? Because like you asked me, like, how do you get the people to let you do the things that seem weird, right? And I think the point that you make, both of you, is that like it is that level of curiosity. Like when you're hiring somebody for a job, what you ultimately want is somebody who's like intellectually curious, somebody who's never not asking questions. And instead of putting a label on it,
Yep.
the goal is to figure out how to embrace it, how to support it, like how to like it's not for me to figure out how to do it. It's to create a space where people who are curious and creative and are different, or I don't know that they're so different. We're all different, but like to let those people make something that has not been made before, haven't been envisioned before. Like that's good humanity, that's
Yes.
good learning, that's
Yes.
good teaching, that's good leading, that's good building, that's good branding, that's good marketing. That's all the goodness
Yes.
of doing something. So like I mean, other than y'all breaking shit, like, you know, that would probably get on my nerves. But that doesn't seem weird to me at all.
I feel like you have to step outside the box, right? I think anything that was great and became legendary, they had to try something different. And we have these rules about video games and how things have to be. Or, for example, me saying I'm blending a fighting game and open world game together. I'm breaking rules. But if you think about it, everything that is great or new had to try something. You had to be a little brave and go a little bit outside the box, or you're just gonna be like everyone else. And I think even this collaboration right here is different. It's outside the box. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But that's how greatness starts. But back to the housing stuff. I have a couple questions for Eric actually. So when we talk about housing in games, the first thing that comes to mind is Sims. I think for most people, Sims is like the first thing when you think about housing. And so what I want to know, just a little bit more about the features when you talk about housing in World of Warcraft, and I want to talk about AI a little bit because it's a thing, it's here, it's coming.
What is it? A1? What are you talking about?
A1? You never heard of it? It's this thing.
Never heard of it.
AI.
I never heard of it either. But
You're talking about Allen
This is AI you speak of.
Iverson?
yeah, the golf player,
basketball
Allen
player.
Iverson. Yeah, the golf player. Yeah.
him.
Tiger or something. Anyway, so World of Warcraft. What I want to know is, would we potentially see something where I can put in a prompt and I can generate a chair, and it can have my uncle's face on it? How deep in customization can I go? Don't worry about
Well, I'll answer your question best I can. I can't speak for Blizzard because I'm not with Blizzard, but I do know that they have taken a pretty strong stand when it comes to the artistry of making their games, that they want humans at the forefront of doing that, and to not bring AI into that space specifically. And we followed that lead with the creation of this site. So with the creation of this site in specific, in this partnership, we were very clear on this needed to be written by humans, designed by humans, made by humans, for humans, not just humans, but fans of the game, for players of the game. What's their future and how can you make stuff? It probably won't be AI, but can you make a picture of, who is this you're saying?
His
My
uncle.
Your uncle,
On
yeah.
the
My
chair.
Uncle Tony specifically.
You can make a portrait of your uncle on the chair because they've made the customization of what you can do within the game itself so specific that you can resize, reshape, and reorient any object and recolor in some cases so that you can manipulate them in 3D space to have them present in whatever way you want. So if your dream is to make your uncle's face into a chair,
Uncle Tony.
it can happen.
Yeah, Uncle Tony. Yeah, Uncle Tony.
I'm just going to go to Nano Banana and make Uncle Tony a chair.
So,
Yeah.
so Eric, speaking of features in a game, are there any hidden Easter eggs at all that you could share with us? Things to look out for?
Well, I'm glad
Gems?
you asked.
Okay, there we go.
So if you go to the site, we have two items, housing items that you can get from the site specifically. One of them is obvious. One of them is a little bit Easter egged. The obvious one, if you go to Zillow.com/Warcraft, you scroll down, you can get a welcome mat, a welcoming welcome mat, as a housewarming gift. People have been using it not as a welcome mat, but as a flat screen because it looks, if you flip it around on the back side of it.
No way.
Yeah,
Really?
it's actually black, like any of these monitors would be if they're turned off. So people have been using them for that. They've been tiling them out. They've been finding interesting and fun ways to use them, which is great because when we're thinking about what items do we want to do, you kind of have to go one way or the other. It has to be something that feels so epic that you can't look away from it. You want it on a mantle, or it has to be something that is so ordinary that it allows you to unlock your creativity with the way you use it. And so we went all the way the other way, which was something very real that you would feel like you would put at your own house, something that maybe an agent would give you when you buy a house, right? So one item is that welcome mat. And then within the site, there is an unlockable vase and flowers that is hidden within one of the ads. If you go through and look at, we have made these for fun ads, basically, just because there are ads on Zillow, and so we wanted to represent a true to life, like what Zillow experience is, but we didn't want to serve up ads for random things. So there are things that reference places and characters and items within the game itself. Within one of them, there's a nursery. If you refresh when you're looking at looking through the neighborhoods on the map view, it will pop up. There's a CTA to get your free sample, and you can do so, and then it will show up in your items, housing items.
I love that. I think Easter eggs is what really ties it all together. things that you don't expect at all is now found in the game, or found in unique partnership.
Yeah, and that one actually just launched last week, so it's not been around very long. We did the welcome mat initially, and then this thing just popped up a couple days ago.
I have one more question. Sorry,
Oh,
about just about the Warcraft housing. So you mentioned houses, right? So I'm thinking one payment, I own the whole thing, right? Hear me out. Hear me out. Right? I feel like trauma builds bonds a little bit, right? And paying rent can be traumatic sometimes. And so I just feel like if there is a way to add rent and apartment payments in the game, I feel like it'll add to the social element. Because think about it, right? Say like I want to hit a dungeon tonight. I gotta pay rent. Like I can't get the sword.
I was just saying, you know that a mortgage is like
Yeah.
more traumatic than rent payment.
Or
right?
mortgage too, but like is it a continuous mortgage though, or is it just a one time? You know.
Might be so big that
If
it's
you want
like
to
hard
be
to do.
Warcraft's first landlord, you got to go talk to them about that. I can't. Right now, you just one-time payment. You can get you can
One
do
time.
more to
Okay,
build out the house, and you can grind and get different gear and expansions and stuff. But yeah,
I still gotta save up though.
You-
So you can't go to every dungeon. You still gotta save up. You still gotta be
You
like.
have to have like financial literacy in order to buy any
Okay.
house, even in Azeroth. Like you got to think about what you're gonna do.
This is true. Okay. I
And
can't go to that party.
on that note, is there anything y'all would like to say as we close today? And then we're gonna go to the audience for any Q&A.
I think the one thing I guess I want to say is two parts, right? Or three parts. One is there is truly a place for everyone. I don't like hearing that somebody made you feel that you weren't special and unique and gifted and truly talented. And so the idea that I'm sitting here right now and the energy, the creativity, the genius is coming off of you, I think should be celebrated every day. And whether it's in IRL or in a game life. So that is one thing I just, shout out to that, right? I want to see more of that stuff. The other one is
If they
that
will show the clip, you'll see a lot.
we ever get that clip? Damn.
Will
this
he
clip.
ever find a clip?
The AV person has left the building. the other one is, oh, okay.
Where the clip at? Yeah, there you go.
Oh, oh.
That's me.
There's nothing weird about that at all. That's pretty awesome and special.
That is dope. That's dope.
That was very cool. Like I was kind of like you're gonna bounce off of something. And then I think the last thing I just want to say is that I want for all of us, regardless of where we are in our journey, to believe in the possible. And so people shouldn't feel like housing and home ownership and renting the apartment that's the right apartment for you. Because for some people, renting isn't perfectly good. It is the dream. And so I want everybody to believe that there is something that is possible for them and that their journey can be represented and be found. And if that's on Zillow, that's great. But I just want people to be hopeful about the possibility of what home means for them, whatever that finds them.
Last thing I just want to say is, if you want to hear more, 9 a.m. tomorrow. I have a panel. You'll hear a whole bunch about it. But I just think it's great. I love seeing this collaboration. I love hybrids. I'm a hybrid person. That's my whole personality. So I love seeing anything come together like this.
Amazing.
I'm going to throw it to, thank you for having questions. I'll just say, if you want a little token, a little physical takeaway of the collab of Zillow for Warcraft, we have some printouts of the business cards for Bektar and Hazel, who are our two in-game character agents, and you can take one of each home with you if you'd like.
I love that. And we're gonna throw it to the audience for Q&A.
Hello, hi, my name is Latoya, and my I have two questions. The first one is about housing affordability and how that plays into the kind of quality time things that we do in our lives. So it's interesting to see this collaboration that is with gaming and also with uh, something that we use to find housing. And that housing affordability piece is really important to me too. So I just want to know the perspective of this collaboration about affordability in housing.
Sure. I'm going to take that one. So we know that housing affordability in this country is a challenge, right? So there are two parts, right? There is housing affordability. Can I afford it? What can I afford? And then there's housing like capacity. There just isn't enough housing in the right price ranges for the population. And so that is not something that, because we don't build houses, and so Zillow doesn't build houses. We tried that, that didn't work out well for us, and so we had to exit stage left. Um, but everybody at Zillow every day thinks about this question like at the core of who we are. And so like when you talked about rentals, I don't automatically just jump to buying a house or selling a house. I think about respect and honor people who rent. So I grew up in rental housing. My parents never owned a house. And so rental housing is just as important as buying a house. And so we honor that. And so trying to make sure that people have access to that. The other thing that we spend a lot of time thinking about, so surfacing, transparency, making sure that everything that's available in the marketplace, you have access to it on Zillow. So there's an open, transparent marketplace where whether it's renting or buying, you can see everything that's out there, because what you can't see, you can't access, right? So that's one part. The second part is about financial literacy. Oftentimes, we don't know what we can afford, and we don't know where to start, and we don't know what it means to be able to buy a house or to sell a house, what the right market is. Can I afford a loan? What does it look like? Who do I talk to? The process is really very complicated. And we're trying to make it simpler for people, making the technology. We say to our real estate partners all the time, we do tech so you can do real estate. And I think making sure that we can help empower people to put the financial literacy in their hands, and making sure that we as an industry leader fight for accessibility to what's in the marketplace are the two places where we can help the most. Hope you find your dream home soon.
Thank you.
It's very tough.
Hi, my name's Steven. I have a question for Jerron Jacques. I follow your work, and I'm actually a huge fan. Just want to say that. My question is, as a solo video game developer, without a team, I can understand that it can be extremely difficult, strenuous, and even time-consuming. So, what motivates you to keep going at it alone without bringing in a partner or a team regarding the development of the game?
That's a good question. So part of it at this point is to prove that I can. And when you ask me why, in the past it'd been a different answer. I think I used to fight to beat the enemy, and now I fight to inspire. It's just different. I think at first I wanted to prove it to myself more than anything, but now I know. I don't even question it. I know I can do it. But I think, on social media, things like that, I get messages all the time, like almost every day. And they're like, because you're doing this, I think that I can too. And that's super important to me, and people believing that, like, you can. It's a choice. Anything you put your mind to, if you work at it, you can do it. And I feel like me doing it this way has opened up so many eyes for so many people that, like, follow your dream, chase it, just work. And I say work. It's work, but with an S. Work smart. And yes, less grinding is 100% part of the game. Put in those reps every single day, but also use your brain and do it the right way. Find any outlet to make it as best as possible. And as far as my journey doing it solo, I think the goal is right now, I know, is to get a demo out of the game. I'm going to fully finish the complete demo by myself. And I think after that point, funding is going to come. And I say funding is going to come because people are knocking at my door right now. And it's reached that point. And I think after the demo is out, after I've proven it and I show what a race really is, that you can do this, and that phase is done of like having to prove it, then the team gets bigger. I think that's really what it's about, is motivating people.
And just like he said, like it's about just doing it. What do you have to lose other than just not trying, right? In turn, I like to quote that cowards never begin and many die along the way, you know? And while that sounds pessimistic, it's a very true fact that entrepreneurship is such a sickness. You got to be crazy every day to want to like do this shit. Like you really got to be crazy, you know? And what you'll learn is that many people aren't crazy. They act like they're crazy, but they're not crazy.
I'm crazy.
That's true. You are.
I ain't even gonna lie about it.
You know? And like I told
I'm a
my
little crazy.
like I mentored the other day. I was like, bro, everybody likes the high of like making a lot of like money. I actually like the high more of things going completely wrong because I like to pull
Yeah, he's
myself
crazy.
back because I like to be able to pull myself back up very fast. You know what I mean? I like to prove to myself that even when shit is going wrong, I could just be calm, cool, collective, and get it done. And he looked at me and said, "Oh, it's because you are crazy. That's why you are a sick in the head because you're an entrepreneur, and cowards die along. Sorry, cowards never begin. Many die along the way. And as long as you understand that you don't have anything to lose other than time, its own self, you'll be okay."
One thing I want to add
You
real
know?
quick. So, another reason why I like doing it by myself is when I worked at bigger companies, Roblox, things like that. There's a certain level of peace when you could do things exactly your way. Because there was so much time on that project that was just spent arguing and figuring out what we're going to do, and not just
Those were called compromises and collaboration.
yeah. I don't like those two C's. And I don't have to do none of that. What I say goes. And there's a level of peace to that I really, really love. I can make the exact game to the T exactly how I want it. I don't have to wait for anybody to say anything. And if you say something, I don't care. It's just all me. And that is another reason why I love it. And I don't like the two C's. But I know I have to do it sometimes.
But yes, to that point, if you play Zelda, there's a famous phrase when he meets the wizard the first time. He says, "Here, you're gonna need this," and he gives him the sword. It's because you do need a team to go out far, you know. So just remember that you do need a team to go far.
Much appreciated.
From. All right,
Keeps
y'all.
working.
This concludes our panel. Thank you so much. Let's give our panelists a round of applause. Make sure you see my guy Eric right here. Get those cards because they'll give you some cool Easter eggs in the game. We appreciate y'all, and we hope you enjoy the rest of BlerDCon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to the neighborhood. I'm Hazel, your top-rated Zillow partner agent.
And I'm Vector,
Love a clip.
your top-rated Zillow partner agent.